Good evening, everyone. I'm going to start the live stream in a minute. I just need to let everybody on social media know that the live stream is getting ready to start. Know that the live stream is getting ready to start. Know that the live stream is getting ready to start. What's going on, Sean S., The Realist, Man, Chillin', Aardvark, Angelique, Trex Manifest. Glad to see you all here. I'm going to get started on tonight's live stream. And tonight's live stream is going to be discussing the fall of the Black Manosphere. Now, the Manosphere, when it first started in, I'd say, about 2013, 2014, was a very positive thing. It looked like black men were starting to regroup from the gender wars on social media, and it looked like black men were starting to make efforts to start working together towards building something substantive. Because when I looked at the videos of the Manosphere when they first started, I'd say, again, about 2013, 2014, around the time I say about David Carroll was coming on to the YouTube scene, we started to see black men starting to make some serious concentrated efforts towards working on building something substantive and starting to learn how to get their stuff together towards having some sort of significant impact in their communities and online overall. So it looked like black men were starting to work on not only building a web presence for themselves, but to create a positive image of black manhood online and black masculinity online, and make efforts to redefine black manhood and black masculinity online to refute many of the racist and stereotypical narratives about black men, and to try to make some efforts to make some inroads on using the tools of social media towards building something substantive. And that's what I saw around 2013, 2014, 2015 with a lot of the brothers who were coming on to YouTube at the time. It looked like they were trying to use their social media platforms the way I use my social media platforms ever since 2007, 2008, when I started really getting serious about building my social media web presence towards doing something positive and constructive for themselves and making efforts to go out here and really have a significant impact on the black communities that they lived in, and creating again that online web presence which would let everybody know that there was a group of responsible, conscientious, capable black men ready to take the lead online and then later take the lead in their communities. So I saw a lot of positive action with the Black Manosphere online. And if it wasn't for the Black Manosphere, I wouldn't be here right now, because it was first your O'Shea Duke Jackson who came to me and he wanted me to write articles, because at the time I was writing men's issues blogs at the time, and he wanted me to write an article. And working with him, I was able to really see the power that black men could have if they worked together. Because after I wrote 3 articles for O'Shea Duke Jackson on his website, the Negro Manosphere. I then took that money and I hired Mike Williams to design the cover for legendary Mad Matilda in 2017. And thanks to the O'Shea Duke Jackson and Mike Williams, I was able to put a professional cover on legendary Mad Matilda, the third book in the Spinsterella trilogy. So when we worked together, I saw the impact that Black men could have working together, working on this project to get the cover for this book. And if it wasn't for those Black men working with me, I wouldn't have been able to go out here and get this book cover on the book or get this book to the marketplace, because Legendary Mad Matilda was delayed due to issues with the cover and me not being able to find a cover artist. But working on that project, I saw that 3 Black men were able to work together, and 3 Black men were able to go out here and accomplish something. Now, I also saw in the Manosphere how Black men could work together when Obsidian contacted me and he wanted me to make an appearance on his show. And at the time, I was struggling out here. I had my channel, but I was just living off mostly my Amazon royalties and my Google, so that really wasn't much money. And I was going to the library just to get the internet. And thanks to Obsidian starting the Sean James Initiative, which is still going on at this time, I was able to go and get a Wi-Fi device so I could make the first appearance on his show, and I was able to get the resources to buy a brand new, used laptop, a MacBook Pro, and I was able to go out here and be able to set the goals, meet the goals of the Sean James Initiative. And thanks to Obsidian, I was able to reach a larger audience with my books, and I was able to go out here and reach new readers with my work, both fiction and nonfiction. And I was able to get my patron numbers up from a small group of patrons, maybe 8 or 9, all the way up now to 55 right now. And I couldn't have done that without the help of Obsidian and all of those other brothers out here. And even recently, I had a brother donate to me the boom mic I'm using for today's live stream. This was a donation from another Black man. And again, I have gotten all of that support from the Black Manosphere. And again, I wouldn't have gotten my channel up to the 10,000 subscriber mark if it wasn't for all of those brothers out there supporting me in this Manosphere. So I see personally the impact that the Manosphere can have on a positive perspective, and I see the impact that the Manosphere can have on other Black men out here. And it is a great resource. Unfortunately, most Black men don't appreciate that resource the way that I do, and the help that I've gotten. Again, I thank your O'Shea Duke Jackson. I thank guys like Mike Williams for working with me. I thank Obsidian for working with me, because again, if it wasn't for those brothers helping me to start making that effort to move to the next level, I would not be where I am today. So I thank God that I was able to work with these Black men, and I was able to go out here and start making efforts to elevate my channel now, because some people have said I should have had 100,000 subscribers years ago, or 10,000 subscribers, or even 20,000. But again, if it wasn't for Obsidian helping me, I wouldn't have gotten to that level, and I wouldn't have been able to move things forward. So I understand the power of the Manosphere in helping Black men. So I know that the Manosphere can be a very positive tool towards building up brothers, elevating brothers, and I am proof positive that the Manosphere can have an impact on helping Black men take themselves to the next level. I mean, with your support on things like Patreon, which I'm going to leave a link to right now. So I'm going to leave a link to the Patreon in the chat if you want to donate to that. And I'm going to leave a link to the Cash App. So you can donate to that. And I saw the impact of the Black Manosphere on my life. I saw how it transformed my life because right now I now have the home internet in order to to move my channel forward, and I'm able to service my customers and my viewers with live streams right now. So I saw the impact of black men working with other black men from what we did in the manosphere. So I saw something extremely positive. I saw black men being able to work together, and I saw black men being able to go out here and build something substantive. So when I look at the manosphere, I saw a great vision for this manosphere, and I saw, sadly, the manosphere fall apart over the last 2 years, sadly, in the exact same way black men on YouTube fell apart during the so-called gender wars. Now, when I started watching YouTube videos back in 2008 after I lost my job, I was sitting there and I was struggling. And one of the things that helped me with YouTube was finding guys like Dan Freeman. And now Dan Freeman, he was one of the original black male YouTubers, and he was using the platform of YouTube to present a positive image of black manhood and black masculinity. And he was extremely critical of black women. And the first video I watched of him, The Threatening Black Man, reminded me so much of myself that it wasn't funny. So when I watched that first video by Dan Freeman, and then I found other brothers like Mr. Superboy, Rick Scorpio, Heavenly Truth One, General Backlash, all these old school black male YouTubers. They made me understand for the first time I was not alone. And they made me understand that when it came down to responsible, capable, conscientious black men, we were using the internet to get our message out there, and we were using the message to change the narrative regarding the image of black men, the image of black masculinity, and the image of black manhood. So I saw a lot of positive images of black men from the US, the UK, all over the world, and they were refuting the narratives that people like your Oprah Winfrey were presenting on media about no good black men, and they were refuting many of the ideas by just being there in their presence. So when I saw those first brothers coming out there in 2009, 2010, again, it had a major impact on me. And what I saw just as those brothers were coming out here was we had some of these women out here looking to try to present those false narratives. And that's what led to what we called the gender war. And as a result of that gender war, what happened was we had a lot of brothers out here who were producing great content. They were getting false flagged off of YouTube, all because they were being critical of black women, because at the time, YouTube had it where you can make these response videos. And as a result, we had a lot of false flagging, not only from some of these black women who were butthurt over the narratives being presented by those black men, but we also had a few of these beta black males out here who wanted to simp and cape for these women. They were out here looking to get brownie points from these women online. And because they thought they could get brownie points with these women, they would go out here and flag videos designed to help them back during the days of the gender war. And a lot of people like Dan Freeman, who had 4 or 5 channels, Rick Scorpio, who had 4 or 5 channels, Mr. Superboy at the time, who had at least 4 or 5 channels, they had to keep dealing with false flaggers and had to deal with all of this. And I made one video talking about censorship and the Constitution because these people didn't want to respect a black man's free speech, and they didn't want to respect the First Amendment. And what led to the end of the first gender war was a big threat to Google at the time of people going to take a class action lawsuit. And as a result, they began to change their tune as related to this false flagging. And they began, and then we saw a real stop to all of the flagging. But sadly, we lost a lot of great black YouTubers who were out here. A lot of brothers like Rick Scorpio, who we don't see anymore, Dan Freeman, General Backlash, all of those brothers who were presenting great stories about their life experiences and refuting the narratives as related to Oprah Winfrey and the gynocentric narrative. You have brothers coming out and presenting their stories as fathers, their stories as husbands, their stories as men. They were out here presenting their stories, and that's what really started to lead to the building of the Black Manosphere. So I started to see where the gender war led to the building of the manosphere, because if it wasn't for those brothers coming on early on and starting to critique those black women and critique those narratives, we wouldn't have had the foundations for the manosphere. So those brothers on social media, they were laying a hard foundation for the next group of brothers to build on. Unfortunately, what has happened now is a lot of these brothers out here, what happened is didn't appreciate the hard work that those brothers put in. I mean, I also talk about Ringo, because Ringo was around back then as well, and he had several channels that were taken down as part of the original gender war, because he was also refuting a lot of these false church narratives and a lot of these other narratives. So we had a lot of guys out here again putting out hard information during those gender war days. And that's what, again, led to the building of the Black Manosphere. And the Manosphere, again, was something that could have been great. Unfortunately, what has happened is, instead of those brothers doing like what I do when I go out here, I try to build bridges with other black men so we can go out here and accomplish something. Instead, what has happened over the last couple of years is, instead of black men working together, we have started to see black men start to go out here and participate in the same dysfunctional behaviors that led to the gender wars of 2009 to 2012, where we saw all of these people trying to go out here and trying to get into it with dysfunctional people instead of staying on code and staying on message. Thank you, Trick Lessons, for the donation. I really appreciate it. If you guys want to donate to the super chat, you can do that as well. And you can also, again, donate to things like the Cash App or the Patreon, because that helps me be able to continue to make videos. It also helps me to be able to go out here and be able to pay for things like the internet, so I can continue bringing you great content. And that's what we were getting from the Manosphere in the beginning, because instead of us having black men sitting there talking about how bad black women were, we started to see content like I produce in many cases, where brothers were talking about doing things for themselves. And that's extremely constructive, because when we have black men out here talking about being strong men, being masculine men, and talking about taking the lead in their lives, that's the type of talk that allows you to radiate positive energy, and it allows you to learn and grow as a man. So when you are watching positive content like I used to watch again a lot of Dan Freeman, a lot of Rick Scorpio, a lot of General Backlash, and a lot of Mad Voodoo Man, aka the Iceman, one of the best YouTube channels out there. That brother has a lot of wisdom, Mr. Superboy, and started watching David Carroll. All these guys are giving you great wisdom. A lot of them aren't on the Manosphere, like a Queasy 100 or Ringo. They're not on the Manosphere, but these men were providing great resources to other brothers with their wisdom, their life experience, their knowledge. They were giving young black men and even older black men the knowledge that they needed. And they were using social media the way it's supposed to be used, because social media is a great tool for building, and you can build something truly great on social media, because social media is something extremely fluid, and it is something that allows you opportunities to reach different marketplaces, reach different customers, and reach different bases all over the world. And that was something I had been doing ever since about 2011, when I started going to do my ebooks on Smashwords. And what I wanted to do was use social media further in expanding my customer base by reaching other customers online, so I could reach a larger audience. And that's one of the reasons why I started my channel. And as I got further into men's issues, I started doing more men's issues videos and men issues blogs. So I really wanted to help a lot of brothers out here with my videos and my blogs. And I thought I could reach more people than I would with a blog. With a video, because you can get, with a blog back in the days, I was getting about maybe 100 views or 200 views in a day. But on a YouTube video, I could get 300-400 views in a day and reach more people. So that's one of the reasons why I did YouTube. And because I wanted to expand my customer base. I wanted to get more readers for my books, like Legendary Mad Matilda, and books that I do for my nonfiction, like The Man Crisis. I really wanted to reach new readers so I can get more sales. And that was all part of the platform I was trying to build on YouTube, because YouTube and social media are a great tool, and they are a great tool for building audiences. And I know that for a fact from watching many of the goth YouTubers, many of which have bases of 50,000 subscribers, 100,000 subscribers, and some of them even have 300,000 subscribers, like Black Friday and Toxic Tears. And these goth YouTube channels at the time, they were doing so well that they were able to go out here and get sponsorships. They were able to go out here and build big revenue. And the Black Manosphere could have gone out here and been on the exact same level as goth YouTube in its prime. Unfortunately, what happened to the Black Manosphere is what happened to the black sector of YouTube. And the big problem with the black sector of YouTube is we have a group of people who don't really have a vision for where they want to take themselves on social media, nor do they have a direction of where they want to go on social media. So for a lot of people who come to social media in the black community, they just see it as a place to be entertained, and they see it as a place to go out here and be able to get a laugh or be able to get a joke, and they don't see it as a serious platform for going out here and elevating the black male image, refuting numerous black male stereotypes, and taking the black image to the next level. What's going on, Mobar 7170, Benny G, Goku 92? Glad to see you here. Harmonix Supremo, Christopher Clipper. Glad to see you all here. Antoine Hooks, Moishi Paladin. Glad to see you all here at the live stream. Again, I'm going to go further into this black sector, because it's a major impact on why the Manosphere fell. And what's going on, Cool Gent 87? The black Manosphere, again, could have been something truly great as towards fixing the black community, because we could have used this tool to refute many of the racist stereotypes presented about black men. We could have used it to redefine black manhood. We could have used it to redefine black masculinity. And we could have used this tool to really make an impact on the overall black community. We could have used this resource. Unfortunately, most black men, because they come from these female-headed households, they were caught up in getting the attention of people, and they were caught up in getting the approval of people. And when you get caught up in getting the attention and approval of people, what happens is you get off message. And that's what happened to a lot of the black males on the manosphere, is that they got off message and they started trying to pander to the audience. Thank you, Kwesang Ma Kaherpu. Thank you for the donation. I really appreciate it. And when you have people getting off the message and getting off the mission, that's when you get people lost. Thank you, Maximus Rex, for the donation. When you have people getting off of message and off code, what they do is they start pandering to the audience. And when you're in business, you can never get off message. You can never get off of your focus, because once you get off of your focus, what happens is you are being controlled by the people who are in the audience, instead of you making sure that you are presenting your message to them. So instead of you presenting your message to the audience dictates to you. And a lot of these guys, they got caught up in getting the Google ad dollars. And because they got caught up in the Google ad dollars, they started making content to pander to the audience to get more views. And what gets more views on the black sector of YouTube than anything else? YouTube beefs, YouTube arguments, YouTube excuse me. And these are things that, again, are not constructive towards building up black men. Now, if you are really serious about a manosphere, again, you have to stay on message and you have to stay on code, and you have to stay on message and code, because your goals are not about getting YouTube views or getting big ad revenue. Your goals are about redefining the black male image, refuting the racist narratives regarding black men, and changing the black image to show that black men are intelligent, black men are capable, black men are responsible, and black men are leaders and responsible leaders and competent leaders. And we can take this tool known as social media and use that tool towards building up a platform that will help black men be better black men and improve the quality of their lives and improve the quality of their communities, because with the knowledge they get, they can then take that knowledge and share it with other people. That's what a man who is focused and on code would do. Unfortunately, when it came down to many of these black males out here, they were getting caught up in their own egos as related to these views, as related to the attention they were receiving, and they wanted to go out here and pander to these low seed people in the hopes of getting more views, instead of trying to bring the audience up to their level. Now, I've had a lot of people say to me that I should be more emotional on camera. I should be more like everybody else in making these, goofy response videos. But that's something that would take me off code as I see it. And when I'm out here, I want to present a strong, positive image of black manhood, a strong, positive image of black masculinity, and I want to present a strong, positive image of myself as a black man, because the mission of my SJS Direct imprint is to present a positive stories about the African American experience and to present diverse stories about the African American experience. And if I'm going to put this type of work in my literature, then I have to live that image out here. So when I go out here, I don't want to go out here and get into these YouTube beefs. I don't want to go out here and get into arguments or back and forths, because that runs counter to my message. It runs counter to my mission, and it runs counter to what I want to present regarding my online image and my web presence, because when I'm out here, I want people to see who I am, and this is who I am in real life. So everything you're seeing here online is who I am. So this is important to me. And when it came down to a lot of these guys on YouTube in the Manosphere, they were more about going into these histrionics and drama in order to get those view counts. And they wanted to get those view counts in order to get that ad revenue. And as I saw it, there are some things worth more than money. And one of those things is the intangible as related to your image and your reputation, because reputation is something that is very important to a man. But a lot of brothers out here, they would rather sacrifice reputation because they come from these female headed households and they want this attention more than their reputation. And when you go out here and you go out for attention, what happens is you tarnish your reputation. And when you tarnish your reputation, people do not respect you. And this is something most black men just cannot process as related to the concept of manhood, is that when you go out here and you are out here, you have to present yourself in a respectable manner if you hope to get respect and you hope to receive respect. So a lot of guys out here, they want to get this attention thinking that, oh, I'm getting these big numbers and I'm making a little bit of change from Google, but you are losing things as related to your intangibles of manhood, like your dignity, your self-respect, and your self-worth. And when you are out here and you lose those things, then people don't look at you as someone they need to take seriously. No, what they do is see you as some sort of laughing stock, and they don't see you as someone who they need to take seriously. So this is why the Negro manosphere, or the black manosphere as many people call it, failed, is because many of these men went out of their way to get caught up in their egos, and instead of them focusing on achieving goals as related to black manhood, they started to think that they were some sort of superstars online because they had all of these subs. But as I look at it, you aren't really barely a blip on the radar. Again, when I look at the average black YouTuber's channel, even at 10,000, 11,000 subs, that's not even anywhere near where some of the top goth channels on YouTube were making. I mean, again, Black Friday at one time, she right now has 300,000 subscribers, and she hasn't even been online for a while. She just came back 2 weeks ago. Toxic Tears has over 300,000 subscribers. And at one time, Drac Makins, who was just doing makeup videos, she passed 100,000 years ago, but then just decided to leave to focus on her personal life. So all of those channels had far more subs than many black channels. But you have a lot of these black males out here thinking that they are superstars because they have 10 or 15,000 subs, and they're going to go and play to the audience on social media and start in an effort to get views. And they're going out here again, making a complete fool of themselves on social media because the behaviors they're participating in online, it's literally like watching a minstrel show. And this minstrel show that they are presenting online, again, this degrades the black male image when you see two grown men going back and forth with each other online. When you see two black men, grown men, bickering and arguing, and you see two grown black men going out here and making ad hominem attacks, calling black men different names and attacking another black man, because that doesn't show you a positive image of black manhood. It doesn't show you a positive image of black masculinity, and it doesn't show you a respectable image of black masculinity, because a black man out here who is my age, 45 and 50 and even 30, 35, that man should be out here presenting an image of manhood where he can sit there and say, I can watch one of these YouTube videos. I can disagree with the content in that YouTube video. And if I want to present an argument to disagree with that content, I can present a structured argument where I present my points. And I did that one time, like when David Carroll made a video regarding the Starbucks incident with those brothers. And David Carroll respected me because I presented a cohesive argument on those talking points, and I was able to disagree based on the points, not on attacking the man. And that's why you get respect, because you can present your facts to people in an argument, not go out here and talk about how this guy is ugly, this guy's hair. That's childish behavior. Grown men present their points in articulate and intelligent fashion, because that's what I saw in goth YouTube. People would disagree. I mean, I saw one incident between Angela Benedict where she was discussing something about Snowy Loather, who presented a point that the music wasn't important. She came with an argument to present her points, and that's what you do when you disagree. And both of those women, they managed to have their disagreement, and then they decided to move on. And that's really sad, because you can see women in the goth subculture go out of their way. They can go out here, make their arguments, have their disagreement, then they can move on. But black men, they have to continue to go on having these beefs, having these back and forths. And these back and forths, they get down to an elementary school level, a junior high school level, and it's embarrassing to watch grown men who are 30, 40, and even 50 going into these ad hominem attacks where they're attacking people's clothes, attacking people's families, attacking things as to their personal lives, and even hitting below the belt by going out here and spending money to dig up dirt on another black man, where they're trying to find this man's address. They're doing things like calling this man's job and trying to get him fired, or they're going out here and they're doing things like doxing a man and trying to reveal his name and address to others. This is extremely immature behavior to see two grown men engage in, because when you see two grown men engaging in this kind of behavior, it shows that these grown men, they are not good at having thick skin. They just don't have any sort of discipline, because any man out here has to go out here and he has to have the discipline to be able to put content out here. And then once he puts content out here, he has to have the thick skin to be able to take that criticism that he receives when he presents content online. And that's what a man can do. And that's what I learned how to do over the last 25 years when I was putting books out here, like You're Spellbound. I learned how to take criticism from people when I would put content out here. And even when I would submit query letters to different authors, I had to learn how to take rejection from those literary agents and those publishers. And that's how I built up a thick skin. And I don't see many of these black males out here having that thick skin when they are out here. They go on YouTube, they present content on YouTube, and the content is designed not to educate people or inform people, but it's designed to go back and forth with another man. And that's quite troubling, because when you use a platform like YouTube, it's supposed to be to broadcast yourself so you can present your message and your mission. But a lot of these guys, they were more caught up in their ego, and they wanted to present their ego online. And it was all about presenting these ideas about what they felt was their opinion, but it actually was just a lot of feelings and no real logical, cohesive argument behind it. So when I look at a lot of these guys, they were all about pandering to this audience, getting into these personal attacks. And yeah, that's entertaining, but it hurts the black male image. And the reason why it hurts the black male image is because it breathes brand new life into old stereotypes. Because when you see these guys beefing and arguing and going into ad hominem attacks and doing things like doxing and even doing things like going to meet another black man to fight, all that does is prove every racist and white supremacist point regarding black men. So a lot of these guys out here who just led to the collapse of the manosphere, all they did was provide free entertainment to racists, free entertainment to white supremacists, and those white supremacists who are watching in the background of those high number view counts, these guys are sitting there laughing and smiling and having a good time at the expense of many of you brothers out here who were a part of the manosphere. They're the ones sitting there enjoying watching you black men go back and forth with each other, calling each other names, and sitting there not writing anything in the comments section, but going back to their own websites and talking about, look at these Negroes, look at how savage they are, look at how ignorant they are. That's what these white supremacists, that's what these white nationalists, and that's what these Ku Klux Klansmen are doing when they see this content online. This gives them great joy to see black men acting like fools online because it makes them feel comfortable about their views and ideas about black men. And this is the thing that they enjoy watching, is seeing you brothers online going back and forth with each other, calling each other names. Now, the woman with the Japanese letters is not spamming. She's all right. But when they see you guys on these platforms going back and forth with each other, they're getting free entertainment. They're sitting there, these hillbillies in these rural areas, they're sitting on their cell phones watching you eating popcorn and waiting to see what type of Negro is out here acting a fool. And that gives, because it proves all of their points and it proves everything that they believe to be true, because you guys are proving old antebellum South stereotypes to be true. These images of the coon, the images of the brute, the images of the man. No, I'm going to go further than that later on, but your guys are proving these coon images to be true, these black brute images to be true, and you're proving the point to that these racists say that black men just aren't intelligent and that black men aren't capable of being intelligent by the way you present yourselves online, acting a fool. So that's what they're seeing, and you are just sitting there proving every point when they watch these videos where you guys are getting loud, where you're getting emotional, where you're getting personal, where you're calling each other N-words, where you're calling each other names. All you are doing, again, is providing free entertainment for these people, these white racists, and also you are being monetized by YouTube because YouTube wants to see that type of content. The people who run YouTube, this is how they make money. They make money at your expense, and they give you a few little couple of change with these views, and they're doing this again at your expense of your image and the image of black men, because no one has a problem with black men on YouTube talking about this gender war nonsense or these response videos where they go back and forth. They don't have a problem with those videos, but they have a problem with videos where you see an intelligent black man presenting himself in an articulate and intelligent fashion and presenting content that refutes many of the narratives they have regarding black men. So the whole idea of an intelligent, articulate, well-spoken black man, this is something that your YouTube has an issue with. And those on the left, they would sit there and say, we want this type of black man. But when we go to your site, all the content on there as related to black people is the ones that's usually allowed to stay on the platform are these minstrel shows where these black men are going back and forth with each other, or this content as related to black women where they are twerking, or these content talking about swirling. And this is again entertainment for white people, and it's a minstrel show, sadly not made by white people, but it is made by us. And sadly, many of us can't see how this is affecting our image. And when it comes down to the manosphere, we were supposed to be trying to address that narrative. Unfortunately, many of us have gotten caught off and gotten lost. And because we are so focused on getting those numbers up, excuse me, getting those numbers up for our channels, we're not thinking about the overall ultimate goal, because the ultimate goal was supposed to be about changing the image of black men. It was supposed to be about changing the narrative as related to black manhood. And it was supposed to be us going out of our way to redefine black manhood and black masculinity on black male terms, and not go out of our way to try to fit in to somebody else's terms. So it was supposed to be about us going out of our way to define what being a black man was. And it was supposed to be about us going out of our way to establish a standard. And it was supposed to be about us establishing a code for how we were supposed to carry ourselves. And it was supposed to be about us staying on that code. And that's, to me, what a manosphere was supposed to be about. It was supposed to be about us going out of our way to create a standard for how we are going to engage each other as black men, and go out of our way to have a code for how we conduct ourselves online. Because as David Carroll has stated, he believes that the internet was a bane to black people, because what happened was black people with smartphones, they were the ones who go out here and present this image of black ignorance to the world. But I have to disagree with him on that point, because if we had critical thinking brothers and sisters out here, we could use that tool to elevate ourselves. Unfortunately, because so many of these black males come from these single mother households, I'll agree with him on that point, that we have this black people putting these images on media, and social media became a bane because we had black people who did not understand the code as related to the black image, and they don't understand how these images of black men fighting online, black women fighting in fast food restaurants, black people twerking, all of this media, what it's doing is it's presenting a negative image of black people. And what's sad is we have an entire website dedicated to black ignorance, your world star hip hop, which was around at the same time as YouTube. And instead of that place being a place to present black excellence, it presents black degradation, and it's perfectly okay with black people. And they could have had a black manosphere on that platform of World Star Hip Hop, which originally was a black-owned platform, but we would rather use that to present black ignorance on display, and that's our fault. I would say that is our fault as black men. And what happened to the manosphere again was they started pandering for views to get the attention of people, and they wanted to get those high number counts, not understanding that quality is more important than quantity. Now, I myself, I have a channel, and I've had a channel for years, and what happens with my channel is a lot of people tell me that I should be trying to get more views, I should be more emotional. I've had that from comic skaters and many others, and I said to myself, no, I don't want to go out here and do things to pander for views. What I want to do is stay on message. I want to stay on my mission, and I would rather have quality viewers on my channel rather than have fair weather viewers who are here to be entertained. So I would rather produce content for the viewers that want my content and not the viewers who want to be entertained. Because I saw the exact same thing happen to Comicsgate, where we had a mission to try to get better comics in the hands of readers, and instead, many of the Comicsgaters started pandering to the audience, entertaining them by going out here to roast these comics and not make any sort of effort to try to improve the quality of the product. So instead of people going out of their way to try to address things and stay on code so that things could be addressed, it became about getting views, and it became about getting attention from others. So instead of you getting views from people who actually are interested in your message and your mission, what happens is you get a bunch of people who are here and they just want to see people do things like rip up a comic or put a comic through a shredder or make all sorts of crazy commentaries about a comic book. And that wasn't really working towards improving the quality as related to the comic books or getting new readers into the comic medium. So Comicsgate completely collapsed in the exact same way that your Manosphere collapsed, because as you pander for views from people who don't care about your mission, then what happens is people don't really connect with your mission. So instead of them learning about your mission and the goals you want to accomplish, all they are doing is coming here to watch you go in and attack another black man, or watch you roast another black man, or watch you go back and forth with another black man, and they're watching you make jokes about another black man. And again, that's not constructive as related to a manosphere. A manosphere was supposed to be a place for black men to get information on how to be a better man, how to improve their life as another man, and to improve themselves as men and learn male life skills. Because when I do my channel and I talk about men's issues, I try to, as I'm talking about certain things like those mass shootings, show you why this behavior is dysfunctional and why you can go out and why to go out here and improve the quality of your life, and why these behaviors are dysfunctional, so that you can learn why these behaviors are dysfunctional and then find a constructive course towards moving yourself forward. And I try to do other videos to help black men build themselves up, because I want to see black men improve the quality of their lives. I don't want to be able to sit here and go back and forth with another man and sit there and argue with another man over opinions, over subjects. I want to present a constructive argument about something, and I want to be able to present constructive talking points, so that when you spend that 30 minutes or 20 minutes or 10 minutes or even 5 minutes watching one of my videos, you have learned something in that time. And once you have learned something, you can then take that information and then apply it to your life. That's what YouTube is supposed to be about. It's supposed to be about people presenting information that helps you move your life forward, and it's supposed to be able to help you be able to learn something so you can grow. I mean, I learned a lot on YouTube, as much as I would learn in a college. I mean, if it wasn't for YouTube, I wouldn't have been able to help further get my A+ certification again. And this is a tool that you can use to build yourself up. But sadly, most black men, they would rather use this tool to go out here and present a minstrel show to entertain white people. And they would also use this platform to go in and vent their anger at black women. Because that's another thing I saw with the fall of the Negro Manosphere. Instead of it focusing on improving black men and us getting ourselves together as black men, I started to see it be all about black women. And that's what led to the whole collapse of those brothers on YouTube in 2009 to 2012. Was they spent most of their time talking about how bad black women were, and it just became repetitive and boring watching these same gender war videos. Oh, black women are no good, black women are nasty, black women are dirty, black women are H's. It just got real tired over time. And you reach a point where you say, well, if these women are no good, then you must be no good because you keep pursuing these kind of women. So you have to, as a man, start taking a critical look at yourself, and you have to start saying that, look, why do you keep talking about these black women? Because the problem is you keep going after these black women. So to tell me these black women are bad, it gets real repetitive and it gets real boring as I see it. And we need to start focusing on ourselves. And instead of us sitting here complaining about bad black women, we need to start improving ourselves as black men. Because if we improve ourselves as black men and we put that investment in ourselves, what will happen is those so-called no good black women will not want anything to do with us. And that's a positive thing because it shows that we are elevating and rising as black men. And when we go out here and we invest in ourselves, we will start to see our value and our worth. And that's a positive thing. So that's something that a lot of these guys in the manosphere were not focusing on in terms of content. They were sitting there focusing on the talking about black women because it got them views from black women, and black women having views from black women was something that they did to get their attention because they wanted to generate this controversy. But that's not how you build a manosphere. You build a manosphere by, again, focusing on investing in black manhood, investing in black masculinity, talking about subjects that talk about building black manhood and black masculinity, and you talking about things as related to the substance of black men, not talking about these so-called no good and ratchet black women. Because again, once you start focusing on self, those so-called ratchet and no good black women, they're going to walk away from you. And the reason why they're going to walk away from you is because you are going to establish a standard. And these so-called ratchet and no good black women don't want to be anywhere near a man who has standards because they know they can't measure up to the standard, and they know that they don't want to measure up to the standard because most of those women are lazy. And those women don't want to step up to your level because they know if they have to step up to your level, they can't bring you down to their level, which is at the bottom of the world. And that was something I learned from Mad Voodoo Man, aka the Iceman, and I saw reinforced by your Halle Berry back in the days when she was with your Gabriel Aubrey and Oliver Martinez. And Iceman said that most of these American women operate in the sewer, and sadly, most black men, instead of rising to a higher level, they get right in the sewer and start flinging feces back at these black women, going back and forth with them, instead of going and saying that I'm going to clean myself up, I'm going to take myself out of the sewer, and I'm going to take myself up to dry land, start building something of substance. And if those women who are in the sewer want to stay in the sewer, they can stay in the sewer. But if you want to go out here and you want to get with me, you have to come up to my level and you have to meet my standard. So what happens with these black men who are going back and forth with these black women? They are going back in the sewer. And again, going back in the sewer to get these YouTube views and get this attention from these women, and going back and forth with them, not understanding the intangibles of manhood they are losing, like their dignity, their self-respect, and their self-worth, arguing with these dysfunctional females. And that's where I can agree with the Kwesi 100 when he says he does not argue with black women, and I don't argue with women because it's a complete waste of time, because any argument you have with a woman is going to be a circle, because what she's going to do is create this circular argument, have you going back and forth with her. And then once you realize that it's just you going around in a circle, they're going to, when you decide to leave, then you are the bad guy. So arguing with them is an exercise in futility. So you sitting there and arguing with this woman about swirling, you arguing with this woman about whatever gender war issues she tries to bring up about no good black men. That's a circle because everything is based on her and her choices. And to argue with her about her so called choices is a complete waste of time. You didn't miss much, George, just me talking about the fall of the Negro manosphere and the issues as related to why the manosphere is in decline. And now I'm talking about the black women and how these guys make videos directed at black women in order to get views, and how they make those videos to get views and then to be able to start beefs with these dysfunctional black women. So these guys will get on the air and they will start getting into these arguments with black women online. And again, these are arguments that are completely circular, because when I look at what David Carroll has pointed out, you look at her and her choices, and everything goes back to her. She's talking about exploring her dating options when she was the one who is in a mess because of the dating options she chose. She chose either the Pookie or the Ray Ray or the beta white guy, and you arguing with her over her choices is over her personal preference is ridiculous, when in actuality it is her that is the problem, and you arguing with her is a waste of time, because when you start to see the way I see it, which is you taking the time to invest in yourself, you're going to see this dysfunctional woman as she is, leave her to her dysfunction, and then deal with the women who want to gravitate towards you, because as you invest in yourself, you're going to find that the women are going to be completely different than this dysfunctional female who you're trying to argue and going back and forth with. And you're going to go out here and be able to work with those who want to help you build. So you really want to focus on those women who want to help you build, and you want to focus on those women who want to help you do things out here that are substantive. So those guys in the manosphere, what they were doing was they were undermining their own success by going out here to go out here and argue with these women out here, these women like the girl who swirls, and many of these other women, wasting your time arguing with that woman instead of you focusing on sisters who want to help you build. And when I go out here, I ran into those type of sisters who wanted to help me build. And one of those sisters, she sent me the donation to be able to pay for the cover for Isis Samurai Goddess. So it was a black woman who helped me pay for this cover, and it was a sister who did this. She gave me the money in 2017, and again, it was a positive sister who saw my work on my blog, and she gave me the money to pay for this cover. And you can again get this book, Samurai Goddess, on Amazon and paperback and Kindle right now. And again, if it wasn't for black women, I wouldn't have been able to put that cover on there. And I know that there are good sisters out there, and there are good sisters who have been supporting my channel, supporting my videos. They've been sending me donations. And again, they see the work that I'm trying to do to present positive images of black people and diverse images in genres like fantasy and science fiction. And they are out here and they want to work with brothers out here. A lot of these sisters, they want to work with brothers out here, and they can't talk because there's this minority out here of loud sisters who are making a lot of noise and continuing to present these twisted talking points that Oprah Winfrey has presented. And many in the manosphere, they try to continue addressing that small group in order to continue the controversy going on, instead of doing what I'm trying to do and build a bridge between myself and the black community, build a bridge between us brothers and the decent sisters, and going out here and taking control of our community, taking control of our narrative, and taking control of our story, and taking control of our lives. That's what we needed to do. And we need to start working with those decent sisters out here. And that's something that most black men, they're not doing, because they get caught up in these gender wars and they start going back watching these videos where these guys are going back and forth. And again, that's just a microcosm, the internet, and people are thinking that that's the real world, and it's not the real world. I mean, that's what I learned as related to the so-called SJWs and comics out there. And the SJWs will have you believing, oh, I'm on Twitter, I'm some sort of superstar, when you only have maybe what, 1,000 followers. And in a country of 300 million people, 1,000 followers is nothing. And you doxing someone or going back and forth with someone over something that they said on Twitter is nothing. The same thing with YouTube. But you can't explain that to a lot of black people who watch these videos, and they believe that this is the real world. And it's not the real world. It's a virtual world, and it's a small place. And again, the Black Manosphere, again, as a small place, could have started and mushroomed into something greater. Unfortunately, most of the black men, again, got caught up in their egos. They got caught up in their feelings. They didn't stay on message. They didn't stay on code. And because they didn't stay on message and code, everything devolved into the exact same thing that the gender war YouTube had become. So instead of us taking that step forward, we wound up tumbling backwards to the days of 2000, I say 8, 2009 to 2012, and things devolved back into the same dysfunction that the gender wars had, where we had black men going back and forth with black women on their channels, and we had black men going back and forth with each other, making these goofy response videos to each other, instead of understanding that there was something far more important as related to black people and the tool of social media, because this tool could be used to build black people up, and it still can be used to build black people up. But black people have to get their head in the game. The same way your Minister Jap was alleged to have gone all the way across the country to go fight another black man is the same way we can go out here and take that resource of the internet to go out here and support other black-owned businesses. Because if a black man can go out of his way to fight another man on regarding something he said in a YouTube video, that same black man can go out here and use that resource of the internet to go find that brother's products that he puts online and goes out here to support them. And that's what I do when I'm online, is I go out here and I find artists to design my covers, like Mike Williams, the brother who designed the cover for Legendary Last Man Crisis. I'm sorry, but it was Mike Williams designed the cover for Legendary Mad Matilda. That was a brother who designed this cover, and he did an amazing job on it. And I used that same brother to design the cover for John Haynes' Dark Succubus. So I used the tool to participate in group economics and put money in another black man's hands. So I use this resource of social media to take black dollars from guys like O'Shea Duke Jackson the first time and give that money to another black man, keeping money in the black community. And that's something you brothers could do, but instead you use it to fight with each other. And I also used it when I hired Drew Swift to design the cover for ISIS Imitation of Life. So I'm taking this tool, this internet and social media, and using it to build bridges with brothers out here, because this was another cover designed by a black man. And again, putting black dollars in another brother's hands so that he can move his career forward and he can get exposure in the marketplace and he can start seeing his work published in media. So I'm trying to help other brothers elevate themselves with these book covers like John Haynes' Dark Succubus. And again, if you could go out here and travel to fight another black man, you can go out here and use this internet to build up another black man. So this is a great tool. Unfortunately, most black people, especially black men, don't see it as a tool. They see it as entertainment. You want to see the books again? But this is Legendary Mad Matilda, and this was the third part of the Spinsterella trilogy, actually the second part. And again, Mike Williams designed the cover. This was the one that I used the money from O'Shea Duke Jackson and doing some articles for the Manosphere to design. And this was a book that, again, 2017, I wasn't able to do without the help of those brothers. And they showed me Positive Black Men. This is John Haynes' Dark Succubus. This was part of the 2019 catalog. This cover was designed by Mike Williams, and he did an amazing job on it. And this is Imitation of Life, which was designed by Drew Swift. Again, all three of these covers done by black men. And again, me taking my money and resources to build bridges with black men instead of beefing and arguing with black men. I would rather build with other brothers. Chance, you can buy all of my books on Amazon.com in paperback. Amazon seems to have something where I can't put the link in on the chat, but you can get all of my books at Amazon. I'm going to try to put it in there, but it won't let me. But you can get all my books in paperback and Kindle formats, and all of my books are available on Amazon. And again, I go out of my way to put money in black men's pockets, and I try to, as I put money in black men's pockets, I try to get their work out there so they can get exposure. And I do that because I want to see, no, it's not manga. It's the Imitation Life cover is kind of manga-esque. But what I want to do is, again, use this tool to build up black people. And that's something we have to do as black men, is use these tools to build ourselves up. Because the internet is a great tool out here, but we just don't use it as the tool that we need it to be. We don't use it to build ourselves up. I might do an audiobook trick lessons. I might just do one that you guys have to pay for on YouTube. So I might do that as a pay-per-view thing. So that's something I might do in the future. Might do one of them like that to see if there's an audience for it. Excuse me. But we're not using the internet the way we're supposed to use it. We just sit there and, George Rogers, what was your question again? You just put it in there and I'll try to answer it real quick. But we don't use that tool. We just use it to. Responsible minorities are the worst nightmare because responsible black men, they refute the narrative of white supremacy as related to black men being lazy and incompetent. Moreover, responsible black men take control of the community, so your racists and your leftists can't control the black community through things like foreign-owned stores and foreign store owners, and they can't control the economy of that community. So when you have responsible men, they establish a standard for the community. They control the economy. They control the resources, and they can't enrich themselves at black people's expense when you have responsible men controlling things. And moreover, responsible men make sure that things like thug culture and gang culture can't come into a neighborhood, because when you have responsible men running things, you don't have thugs and gangs. You have men who are fathers running the community. When you have a father running a community, you're not going to have any sort of thugs or gangs, and you can't sell products to kids in those neighborhoods like Air Jordan sneakers, or have them going out here simping and tricking on women in the hopes of getting attention and approval from women. So instead of the boys looking for approval from women, they're looking to elevate themselves as men, and they're looking to go out here and build as men. So that's why people don't like the idea of responsible black men running communities or running social media or having social media platforms, because when you have intelligent, capable, responsible black men, you're going to get content on those platforms that is about elevating black people, not black people tearing each other down. One of my predictions on the future of black YouTube, sadly, what's going to happen is we're going to see more of the same. It's like a vicious cycle. I mean, we'll get brothers who want to go out here and build, and sadly, we have guys who get caught up in their ego and they'll try to tear down the work of those black men because a lot of those guys are jealous, Trex Manifest, and because they're jealous of another black man having success, they tear that black man down through false flagging campaigns, or they tear that black man down by doing the cowardly thing of trying to cook and roast a black man, or to try to get that black man to engage in juvenile behavior like going back and forth or doxing a black man. They don't like to see a black man going out here being responsible. So I see Black YouTube as sadly continuing on in its dysfunctional course because black people don't want to take themselves to the next level. A lot of them, because they are on these platforms because they believe they can get these views, and they think that the views are something positive, and that acting a fool to get attention is something positive, when in actuality, all you're doing when you're out here acting a fool is providing free entertainment for white people, and white, especially white racists and white nationalists and white supremacists who are sitting back eating popcorn and having a good time watching two black men continuing to argue with each other, go back and forth with each other, and have a good laugh at them and have some fun. We've got 101 in the chat. Can we get the likes up to over 100? I'd really appreciate that. 104 in the chat. Can we get the likes up again? Because that helps with the algorithm. And if you guys want to donate to the super chat or the Patreon, I'd really appreciate it. But you have all of these people who came into the manosphere. But the thing that I saw that really did the damage was a lot of these guys were out here when the women started paying attention to them. They started to really start pandering to the women. And again, that shows some weakness as black men. When you are a black man and you get attention from women, that the thing is, you don't pander to the women, because when you pander to the women, it makes you look weak. And that's what happened to a lot of these guys in the so-called manosphere, is they started simping on these women, trying to make topics to cater to these women, trying to make points to give these women attention and approval. And if this is a manosphere, men are supposed to set a boundary as related to women and say that that we have rules here, and if it's about us elevating ourselves, we have no time for you, because you are already established out there, and we are using this platform to get ourselves together. Get back to Benny's question. Would white employers hire these black male YouTubers who display their dysfunction on YouTube and black Twitter? I doubt they would hire those type of black males, but there are some guys who would hire those type of guys, because some companies like having coons around. Some people like having these jokers around because it makes them feel comfortable in their smooth world. Because when you have guys who are acting a fool, some companies love having black male coons around, but those are the exception and not usually the rule. Usually if they have a coon around, it's just a job where you're going to be a joke, and nobody's going to see you as anything taken seriously, just use you for a laugh, and it's not a place you really want to do. And Ace, the start of the downfall of the manosphere really started with the egos of a lot of these black male YouTubers in the manosphere getting caught up in their popularity, alleged popularity, where they were getting these views. And it got even worse when they started seeing women starting to pay attention to them. Now, I get attention from women online all the time, but I manage to keep it professional because I understand that as a man, I have to go out here and maintain a level of professionalism. And when you start pandering to women, it shows a sign of weakness, and it shows that you are more about trying to submit to this woman to get her attention. And that's kind of ridiculous when I think about it, because this is a person who is online thousands of miles away, and you simping on her really is not going to get you any more favor and approval. This is someone sitting behind a keyboard. So just because she pays you attention is not mean anything that you're going to get a chance with this woman, and it doesn't mean you have an opportunity to get with that woman. I mean, when you're out here and you're dealing with women online, all you're going to do is, as I see it, maintain your professionalism, say thank you, and keep it moving. I mean, the woman who donated the money for me to do the cover for Isis Samurai Goddess, I thanked her for the donation. And then after I thanked her for the donation, she told me she didn't want her name mentioned. I said, okay, I won't mention your name in the book. I was going to mention it, but I said, no, I will respect her wishes. I haven't seen that woman in 2-3 years, and that's been the end of it. I mean, if you are out here, you don't go out here simping on women and begging women online, because that makes you look weak and it makes you look like a weak man. So a lot of these guys out here, they really don't understand how it is. And then they start making topics always talking about black women. And again, this is supposed to be the manosphere. We're supposed to be talking about things that improve our lives as men. That's what we should be talking about. But instead of us talking about things that improve our lives as men and talking about things that help us become better men, you have a bunch of guys talking about how bad black women are, what black women are doing. And I personally don't care what black women are doing when the state of black manhood is in the state that it's in. When you have your manhood in a state that it's in, we need to be working on trying to get ourselves together as men, because that's what I've been trying to do over the last 10, 11 years. Is I've been trying ever since I lost my job in 2008. And even then, before that, I was always working on trying to improve myself and always trying to work towards taking myself to the next level. And for me, it's all about me moving forward. And in order for me to do that, I have to put myself first, and I have to put the goals I set for myself first. And what happens with a lot of these black males in the manosphere is that they lost sight of their goals. They got caught up in their feelings, and they got caught up in the attention they were getting. And then when they saw the women coming along, the black women, paying them attention, they started simping. And what got worse was a lot of these guys, they started having panels with these black women. And that's when we really started to see the simping, because instead of them staying on message and staying on code, what they did was go out here and start going back and forth with each other online in the hopes of impressing these women who were on the panels. And that's the stupidest things you could ever do, because women are not impressed by you going out here and making an ad hominem attack at another man. And again, this is a woman who is thousands of miles away, and in many cases is involved in another relationship with a man and has no interest in you at all. So you sitting there and arguing with this other man in an effort to show how much of a bad dude you are, this woman is laughing at you. And all of these white racists and white nationalists and even these women out here, they're laughing at you because they see that you're just so stupid that you're going to go out here and argue with a man online to impress a woman who is online thousands of miles away. And that's just something that is so incredibly dumb, it's not funny. And sadly, many of the black men who are supposedly a part of the manosphere don't have the critical thinking skills to connect those dots and to understand that, hey, I am on this panel of this show, and I am here to either present some talking points, or in my case, like when I was on Obsidian show, I was there to promote my work. Like, let's see here, like I did 3 shows on the man crisis. My goal was to promote my work, to let people know what I was doing, and to expand my audience. So it was a tool that I was using to go out here and build myself up and do things to improve my quality of life and reach more readers. So that was my goal on those panels of shows like Obsidian. And again, to present that professional image of myself so people could see myself as a professional and see that positive image of black manhood and black masculinity. So that's what I was trying to use those panels for. But sadly, what these panels have become is they have become these places where these black males have gone out of their way to bicker and argue with each other, go back and forth with each other, and go into these personal attacks on each other. And again, when you have a woman on there, it proves David Carroll's point about what happens at Super Bowl parties when you have these black men. They start showing out to impress the women, and they try to go out here and impress the women, not understanding she's not impressed by you. And most importantly, she just doesn't care. Thank you, Brother Tech. Glad to see you here. Um, they they don't care about you. I mean, most of these women out here, they look at you and they laugh at you guys on these panels. And again, you're providing free entertainment for those women and those racists. So you're providing free entertainment for people, and you're sitting there on these panels going back and forth with each other. And what's really embarrassing about these panels is that these guys go on these panels for seven. What's going on, Math Panther? Glad to see you here. I mean, Math Panther, he's a guy I talk to on Facebook all the time. It's surprised to see him here in this live stream. I'm just glad to see you here. But you guys are going back and forth with each other for 7 and 8 hours. I mean, I have done live streams at 2 hours, and my throat starts to get tired. I don't really understand how you guys would go sit there for 7 and 8 hours. Luciano, I'm going to get you your question in a minute, but I just want to get to this talking point. Why does multiculturalism and globalism hurt minority communities? Because those resources that are not going to the black community, that they're going outside of it. Multiculturalism, it just takes resources out of black people's communities and gives it to other people. And I don't see how you can be productive doing live streams for 3, 4 hours, 7, 8 hours, where you're just sitting there arguing and going back and forth. It's ridiculous to me when I see that, because as a guy out here who has a channel and has other projects that I'm doing, I sit there and I say to myself, you know, I have so much work to do. I have other things to do. So I don't have time to sit there for 8 hours just going back and forth talking about black women. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, if I'm on a panel, I want to talk about a book I'm promoting. Again, like the Man Crisis, I want to talk about that. And I would want to talk about the books that I'm doing right now that are a part of the 2019 catalog. Books like Isis, All That Glitters, which is available on Amazon right now, Eastine Goddess of, and John Haynes' Dark Succubus. And I would be talking about that stuff on a panel, and I would be talking about that content on a panel. And that's what I want to talk about on a panel, stuff related to content, and not sit there and go back and forth with a guy talking about black women. Because if you want to get the respect of black women, build yourself up as a black man. And that's something a lot of these guys who are on these panels don't understand. They're sitting there making a complete fool out of themselves on these panels, going back and forth with each other for 7, 8 hours, and showing us how they just aren't productive. A productive man has other things he does in his schedule. And I myself, I have a routine where, again, I'm working hours after this. Once I'm doing a video, I'm working on a novel or revising a novel. I have 3 projects I'm working on right now, like Isis, the Main Event, John Haynes, The Man Who Has Nothing to Lose, Eternal Night, which is the new vampire novel I'm working on, and I'm doing outlines for the new Eastine book I'm doing, and along the road, I want to do a Spinsterella's Summer Vacation. So I have a lot of other book projects I'm working on, in addition to doing other business out here. So I don't have the time to keep sitting here and to sit there for 8, 9 hours going back and forth. And I know for a point that Ringo made from my own personal experience that if you have a job, you don't have time to be sitting there and to go for 8 hours in a live stream because you are tired once you come out of work. I remember when I was working at City College at their library one day, I wanted to edit some books, and I was so tired that my body literally crashed because once you do 8, 9 hours on the job, you don't have the stamina to go out here and continue to keep working on other projects. And this is something people don't, that Ringo made the point on, that a lot of people aren't getting, is that once you have to work, you don't really want to have spend your whole day going back and forth with somebody else or arguing with somebody else. I mean, it's just a waste of your time. You really want to make your time productive, and you want to make your time be able to where you can go out here and do something that is significant and has value. It looks like something's wrong with the chat. So see what's going on here. Got 105 in the chat, so let me see what's going on here. Okay, something's wrong with my chat, but it's still coming up. But when it comes down to it, you want to make your time productive, and you want to make your time really do something where you're doing something of great value. So you really want to be able to do something where your time is being used in a constructive manner, and your time is being used to achieve something in that time. And that's something that I try to do with my time in a day. Is I try to set goals for things that I want to do in a day. And I want to be able to say that, oh, I did this in a day. Like, I go out here and I say, I want to write this chapter in a day. I want to be able to say that, oh, I got these tasks done in a day, and I got things taken care of in a day. And that's what a man wants to do with his time, is go out here and make significant use of his time. He wants to go out here and make his time be used to things productive. And for me, if you're going to do a live stream, and that live stream you do, it should be about making topics that allow your audience to show that you have a good understanding of a subject, and to go out here and be able to reach your customers and be able to get your customers to see the products you're offering. I mean, when I go out here, and again, I do a live stream, I do those live streams because I want to go out here and let people know that I'm very intelligent, that I present good subject matter, and I also want them to be aware of the work I'm producing, like your John Haynes Dark Succubus, your Isis All That Glitters, and your Esteem Goddess Of. I do that so that I can get sales on my books, and I also do it so that I can raise funds for things like the Isis graphic novel. And again, I use the tools that are in front of me, and I look at this Black Manosphere, and we're not using the tools that are in front of us to build anything substantive. So you guys going back and forth with each other, it doesn't help Black manhood. It doesn't help Black masculinity, and it presents an image of Black men that is one that is seen as a laughing stock by the international community, because people all over the world are watching these YouTube videos. I've had people from Denmark, Holland, the UK, Canada, Japan, France, all over the world watching my live streams, and to see people, I've even had people in Muslim countries watching my live streams. So I get people all over the world watching my live streams. So I understand that I have to present that positive image of Black manhood and Black masculinity, because people don't get that image of manhood and masculinity out there. And when they see Black men going back and forth, all that does is prove the racist points of white supremacists, white nationalists, Ku Klux Klansmen. And again, we do this and we don't really understand the impact that it has on people, because for us to be seen out here acting ignorant out here, it's embarrassing. And again, the Black Manosphere could have been a great tool towards improving the image of Black men, but Black men were the ones who undermined it, because most Black men thought like Black women, and they thought like Black women, and they got in their emotions about this attention they were getting, this so-called fame they were getting, and they started going back and forth with each other instead of building bridges with each other. Because if they built bridges with each other, they would have done something that would have had a significant impact on Black men, Black manhood, and Black masculinity. And they would have gone out here and been seen as someone that needed to be taken seriously. And it's hard to take a Black man seriously when he is out here going into ad hominem attacks and sitting there arguing with another man for 8 straight hours. I mean, 8 straight hours. I think about that. That's embarrassing to even think about wasting that much time, because time is an intangible you are not going to get back. And to sit there for 8 straight hours arguing with another man, what does that profit you? You're not going to convince anyone of anything. And it's absolutely ridiculous when you think about the whole idea. I mean, I've seen goth YouTubers do 8-hour live streams, and they make money on that live stream that allows them to pay their rent. And then you have a guy who was a comic artist. He did a 8-9 hour live stream to help get his project funded. And again, it's all towards enriching themselves and enriching people with something of quality. But Black men, they'll have an 8-hour live stream where they will go back and forth with each other. And in that 8 hours, they don't get any donations in the super chat, and they don't get any sort of donations in Patreon. They don't get any sales increases as to products. So what was the purpose of that live stream for you to sit there for 8 hours and get nothing out of it at all? I mean, you're sitting there going back and forth with another man, or you're sitting there talking about Black women for over 8 hours. And what did you get out of it at the end of the day? You didn't convince this other man that your opinion was correct. You didn't present a constructive argument that presented your talking points to the audience. You didn't present any sort of cohesive narrative towards anything, nor did you present anything that enabled you to go out here and get sales on a product. I mean, when I go on these panels, I at least have a tangible product in my hand, like this John Haynes Dark Succubus, or Isis All That Glitters, or Eastine Goddess of, or the Man Crisis. I have something tangible I am trying to sell the audience, and I have a tangible product that I'm trying to reach the customers and try to persuade the customers to buy on places like Amazon.com, where you can also find Chris Brown's Omega Black, which is a great Black manga, and you can find that. You can find that on Amazon as well. And again, you're not doing anything to use this tool to make money, because again, the internet is a resource that is supposed to be used to make you make money. Everybody's making money. I mean, those goth YouTubers at one time were making money. All of these comic fans and manga fans were making money. But you guys are out here arguing, going back and forth with each other. And the only people making money at the end of the day is YouTube. Wise Guy Joe, Chris L. Brown has a manga called Omega Black, and it's on Amazon right now. You can pick it up in paperback, and you can pick it up on Comixology. It's positive Black manga that features a strong Black man and a strong Black family, and it's the stuff that one of the best mangas I have read in a long time. But when you have this live stream, this YouTube tool, you can use it to go out here and get your message across. You can use it to go and promote products like I just promoted just a minute ago, and I really want to get my fiction sales up. So please go out here and pick up the books of the SJS Direct imprint. No problem, Chris. I want to see more people pick up your book, your comics, and I really want to see more people pick up my fiction because this is great fiction. It's all ages family fiction. I've had kids pick up these books, and your kids would enjoy them too. So I really want to get the fiction sales up, and I really want to get the readers picking up the fiction of the SJS Direct imprint and the SJS Direct universe. And again, it's all on Amazon right now. And again, this is a tool we can go out here and use to build ourselves up with and take ourselves to the next level. But the Black Manosphere, again, because of egos, because of simping, and because of these guys out here looking to impress women who are not impressed, this is how we got this whole rehash of the gender war. Grown men who are old enough to be fathers acting like children. And that's one of the saddest things that I saw about this manosphere is that these grown men continue to act like children. And instead of them taking this wonderful tool of the internet, this great resource that was created to be this information superhighway, instead of them taking this great tool to change the image of Black manhood and Black masculinity, what they took this tool to do is go out here and bring back the coon and buffoon narratives that white racist, white supremacist, and white nationalists designed for the Black man to be, breathing brand new life into old stereotypes, living old stereotypes, and then spending their time sitting there talking about no good Black women. I don't really see that as substantive because to sit there and complain about no good Black women is a waste of time in my eyes. As I saw it when I was in my high school days, I said, I can't sit here and complain about these bad Black women. I have to start working on improving myself as a Black man. Because again, as I stated before, when you improve yourself as a Black man, what happens is you no longer even associate with those women. Those women want nothing to do with you. The hood rats, the feminists, the swirlers, all of those people want absolutely nothing to do with you because you are going on a way to elevate yourself. And as you elevate yourself, you're going to attract the attention of women who are of higher character and higher caliber, and women who want to rise to meet your standard, and women who don't want to take you into the sewer. So you're going to rise to a higher level. Unfortunately, many in the Black manosphere didn't want to rise to a higher level. What they wanted to do is try to go out here and get the attention of those women, and those women drove us right back into the sewer known as the gender war. And it's that sewer where we have these Black males flinging feces at Black women, and many of these Black women flinging feces back at them, making the same repetitive, boring content that was tired back in 2008, 2009. And I myself, I get tired of watching that type of content. And that's one of those reasons why I really stopped watching a lot of Black content for a while, and I started watching other content. And when I started watching the other men's content like Sandman and Turd Flinging Monkey and started watching goth content, I started to see a completely different world of the internet. And I saw over there people going out of their way to build. I saw people going out of their way to build bridges with each other, especially on the goth side of YouTube, where I have seen people work together, people collaborate and make videos together, people make series together, people working together and building up each other's channels with guest appearances. And Are seen people travel all the way across the globe to meet other goth YouTubers, and they build bridges with each other. They are on each other's channels, and They're using the tool of the internet to build the subculture and maintain a positive image of the subculture. Unfortunately, the black manosphere has become sadly another part of the dysfunctional gender war. People going back and forth with each other, people arguing with each other, people making threats to each other, people getting into it with each other. And it's just embarrassing to see that people of this next group, taking us right back in the manosphere to the sewer instead of trying to rise and build a city that where people can have a strong black community. We could have that if we understood and appreciated the tool of YouTube, because YouTube is a tool. Social media is a tool, and the YouTube can be used as a tool as related to the manosphere, because the manosphere was something, again, designed to elevate black men. And black men, we could still use this tool, but we have to get our heads out of our backsides and stop thinking about trying to impress others, stop trying to think about getting views, and going out here and making content we believe in, and making content that is some of the best that is out there. I mean, as I see it, the sewer, like Wise Guy Joe said, it's profitable on the short term. Yeah, you get a lot of views and you might get your videos monetized, but all you're doing, again, is losing, because you're presenting negative images of yourself for the world to see. You're reinforcing every point that these racists have about black men, and these racists are sitting here in their home, in their little trailers, and they're having a Coors, having a laugh, and having a good time, watching you call each other names, watching you going out and having these, making these loud arguments, going back and forth with each other. These racists are having a good old time, and many of these black women are having a good old time being entertained by you, but they are not seeing anything that you're doing that makes them take you seriously. So when I look at you brothers out here, I look at the opportunity you had with the manosphere. You had an opportunity to take yourself to the next level. And instead of you taking that trip to the next level, all you did was tumble back into the sewer. And I'm deeply saddened to see that, because I see still great promise in the manosphere, and I still see great promise as related to the manosphere being a tool to build up black people. But we have to start rising to a higher level, and we as black men have to start establishing a standard for ourselves, and we have to start establishing a standard for how we conduct ourselves. We have to establish a code for how we conduct ourselves online. And when we do that, guess what we do? We send a powerful message to the world about black men. When we go out here and we look at ourselves and say, look, okay, that brother has an opinion I don't like. What I'm going to do is click out of his video. I may disagree with that brother. And what I will do is, if I disagree with him and I see an argument that yeah, I'm going to get him out of here in a minute. I'm going to get ready to get on my way myself. Yeah, I'm going to get rid of this guy. But okay, I'm going to get rid of this DB guy. But because here come the trolls, and they're looking for entertainment, and that's what they want. They want to get this entertainment from black people. They want to see black people acting stupid and ignorant, because that's what they do. They come to your live streams looking to get into arguments and get drama going. They don't like intelligent discourse, and they don't like to see intelligent brothers presenting that intelligent content, because that intelligent content refutes all of the narratives they have about black men, and it refutes all of the ideas that they have learned about black men, excuse me. And that's what they want. That's what they want to see, really, is black people acting stupid. They want to see black people acting ignorant. They want to see black people sitting there talking about 40 ounces and twerking. And that's not the content that I saw with YouTube back in the day. All I see back then, I saw presentations of intelligent black men, and we could take this platform and elevate it, but we don't understand what the opportunity we have. We are sitting there being, okay, we got another troll, and we have another troll. So what I'm going to do is, because that's what they do. They come to intelligent platforms and they want to come here and act a fool, and they want to try to disrupt the discourse. So they don't like being on an intelligent platform. Okay, it's like almost midnight, so I'm gonna get ready to wrap it up anyway. But you get these ignorant people, and again, they're looking to start drama going, start trying to get things going. They're looking to start arguments and start getting things going. So they don't like seeing an intelligent discourse, and this is what they want to see. They want to be able to get on somebody's platform, and that's what they want to see two black men doing, going back and forth with each other, two black men arguing with each other, and see this type of thing. And it's entertainment for them because it allows them to live in their smooth world, and it allows them to live in their fantasy regarding black people. They don't want to see intelligent black people. They want to see minstrels, and they want to see black men acting a fool online. So I'm going to get ready to wrap up this live stream in a minute. So I want all you brothers to understand what the manosphere is, why the manosphere could have been significant, because the manosphere could have really changed the way the world saw us. And sadly, because we didn't go out here and protect our manosphere by having a code, by us having a standard, we wound up turning our manosphere into something that became a complete disaster. We could have gone out here and made this into something great, but we didn't do that. And sadly, we could have gone out here and had something great. So I'm going to get ready to wrap up the live stream. I thank you all for coming to the live stream. And I really want to get my fiction sales up again. And I would appreciate if you guys picked up Eastine Goddess of on Amazon.com, Isis All That Glitters on Amazon.com, and John Haynes Dark Succubus on Amazon.com. And I would appreciate it if you guys picked up The Man Crisis on Amazon.com in paperback and ebook. I thank you all for coming to the stream, and I hope you'll be there for next week's live stream. I'm still working on the topic, but I thank you all for coming to the stream, and I'm going to end the stream now, and thank you all again for coming to the show.